Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming. My name is Olga George. I'm the City of Pittsburgh and Mayor Alleghany's press secretary. It is truly an honor to welcome you all to this important press conference held in collaboration with Allegheny County and the Level Up Greater Pittsburgh Pay Equity Campaign. Today, as we observe Women's History Month, International Women's Day, and Equal Pay Day, we come together with a shared purpose to acknowledge the ongoing need for gender pay equity and to move towards closing the gap once and for all. Equal Pay Day, which we recognize today, marks the point in the year when the average woman must work to earn what the average man earned in the previous year. While pay discrimination has been illegal for over 50 years in the United States, the reality is that the pay gap persists across the Greater Pittsburgh region and beyond. As we reflect on this disparity, we also reflect on the commitment of our local leaders, including those here today, who are dedicated to addressing gender pay inequity head-on. And now it is my privilege to introduce a dedicated leader and passionate advocate for gender equity, Dr. Angela Reynolds, CEO of the YWCA Greater Pittsburgh. Dr. Reynolds.
Thank you, and thank you everyone for being here. Good afternoon. So I'll be honest, I'm not grateful to be celebrating Equal Pay Day in March, late March, when it should have happened the previous December. But I am grateful to have the opportunity to speak about the work of the Level Up Greater Pittsburgh campaign and to highlight the pillars which you can see behind me. I'm grateful for the opportunity to speak for achieving pay transparency early in the hiring process. Don't make us wait until the job offer to find out how much the job is going to pay. I'm grateful to be speaking about removing salary history. Why should we be penalized because our employer underpaid us at our previous job? It is fitting that we stand here today in this place to speak on these issues during Women's History Month, as we honor the trailblazers who stood before us, even for us to have an opportunity to stand at this podium in this portico at this time. We fight for equitable compensation because we understand how this campaign works so that people can live in dignity, that we can enable people to care for themselves and their families, and that also people, especially women, can go beyond just surviving to thriving. So I want you to take a moment to think about what you do with your paycheck every month. In that moment, you probably thought about your housing. You probably thought about food. You probably thought about health care, transportation. Those are basic needs. Now I want you to take a moment, take that same paycheck and decrease it by 17%. That is what women go through. We don't have to think about it. Women earn 83 cents to the dollar for a white non-Hispanic male. If you're a woman of color, however, that number differs and can be 66 cents on the dollar or even a low of 58 cents on the dollar based on your ethnicity. So take another moment, take your paycheck and decrease it by 42%. That's less money available to support your family, when in many cases you might be the primary or sole wage earner, and you also are serving as a primary caregiver. That's also less money available for you to meet your basic needs. So I thank the county leadership of County Executive Innamorato and the City of Pittsburgh's leadership, and I thank Adriana for being here to represent the city, for their continued commitment to equity more generally, but specifically that they take deliberate action as it relates to hiring and also continuing, despite everything that is going on, to stand up for the most vulnerable among us. It takes deliberate action to achieve pay equity, deliberate action through legislation like paid leave policies at the city and county level. But it's also deliberate action for employers that you can make more inclusive, equitable workspaces. It's a decision, and let's all stand up and fight to make those decisions happen. And now I am honored to introduce a history maker and a new profile for our Women's History Month presentations, our County Executive, Sarah Inamorata.
Thank you so much, Dr. Reynolds. And thank you to our other leadership who is here, from the Women and Girls Foundation, from the Black Women's Policy Center, and from the Mayor's Office. This is really something that is going to take the whole of society to rectify. You heard we're here because women in 2025 are still making 83 cents for every dollar that a non-Hispanic white man is making in America. And at this current rate, it will take 134 years to achieve gender parity in terms of the wage gap. That is far too long. We have families, we have women that are working today, and we need to expedite that timeline. And really, that's why we need to work at all levels of government, from the federal to the local, across community-based organizations, and absolutely our leaders in the private sector adopting policies that help us achieve gender parity in terms of wages. And I say that, as county executive, my job is to create a county for all. And the only way I can do that is with my county workforce. The county is one of the top employers in our region. We employ more than 6,000 people, and I want us to be the employer of choice for people who are here right now in Allegheny County and people who want to move to Allegheny County to really grow their career in civil service. That's why my first ever executive order was Allegheny County hires, which means we are investing in our county workforce. So a large part of that initiative is making sure we're doing the things that are behind me on this banner, that we're doing a study to make sure that we are equal across all of our non-union employees so we can attract and retain talent. It means that we're providing fair and equitable salaries for our current employees and raising the floor for the people who give so much to all 1.25 million people in Allegheny County every day. It means that we are having a salary structure that is competitive and comparable with other employers in our area. It also means we're looking at things like investing in education, investing in childcare, and making sure that we can really support the women in our workforce and working families. Because when we build a world that centers women and gender equity, we create a world that is better for us all. So I'm really proud to stand arm in arm with these women who are here today, who are leading the charge to achieve equity in all places in our region. And I know that we have work to do, but we are going to do it together. And I'm excited to see the world that we can build. So thank you for having me today. And now it's my honor to introduce Adriana Brannon, who's the IDEA manager for the Office of Mayor at Gainey.
Thank you, Sarah, as well as all of the other advocates that are here today that have continually dedicated their expertise and their time to ensuring that women have equitable opportunities and pay within their roles. My name is Adriana Brannon. I'm the Inclusion, Diversity, Equity, and Access Manager for the Office of the Mayor. And I'm here to say that Equal Pay Day stands as a reminder that equality in pay is crucial for a fair and just society. And we, as a city, are deeply committed to ensuring salary transparency and that we are closing the gender pay gap within our employment. By prioritizing salary transparency, we are taking important steps towards creating an environment where everyone has the opportunity to thrive regardless of their gender. We want people to have the information to advocate for themselves and be paid equitably for their work. Equal pay is not just a goal, but it is a fundamental right. Empowering women in leadership positions is also essential for creating a more inclusive city. We will continue to support women in rising to leadership roles and breaking through barriers to achieve their fullest potential. The Gainey administration is deeply proud of the many women in leadership that are helping to steer our city in a direction that is more inclusive and accessible for all people. Equal pay and leadership representation go hand in hand. Our city's commitment to these values reflects our dedication to building a more equitable future for all residents of Pittsburgh. And today is not just a reflection of the work ahead, but a tribute to the generations of women who have fought for justice and equality. The foundation that they have built gives us the strength to continue prioritizing pay equity and empowering women to lead and close the gender wage gap. Today is a reminder that while we have made progress, the journey for true equality is ongoing. There are still many women, specifically women of color, that are not paid equitably compared to their male colleagues. We are working very hard to address those inequities and to ensure that all of our residents have access to equal economic opportunities. Together, we can work together to ensure that opportunities and fair compensation are available to everyone. Thank you for having me today, and I'm very proud to introduce Camilla Rivera-Tinsel, the CEO of the Women and Girls Foundation.
Good afternoon. It's an honor to stand alongside so many committed leaders as we recognize Equal Pay Day. It's a stark reminder that gender pay inequity is still a reality, not just in Pennsylvania, but across the nation. Here in Pittsburgh and Allegheny County, we have seen meaningful efforts to address this issue. The city's Gender Equity Commission continues to highlight disparities and push for solutions. Allegheny County's Hires Executive Order is creating more equitable hiring and pay practices in county government. And through the work of organizations like the Women and Girls Foundation, the YWCA of Greater Pittsburgh, and the Black Women's Policy Center, we're striving to build a region where all women, regardless of race, age, or industry, can thrive economically. But while we're making strides locally, the barriers to pay equity persist at the state level. Pennsylvania has not updated its equal pay protections in over 50 years. Without legislative action, wage gaps will continue to harm women and families for generations. The weakening of the Human Relations Commission's enforcement power means fewer pathways to hold employers accountable. If we want Pittsburgh and Pennsylvania to remain competitive by attracting women, families, and strong workforce, we must take action. And make no mistake, the wage gap starts early. Young women entering the workforce are already at a disadvantage. Studies show that women earn just 90 cents for every dollar their male peers make in their very first jobs, just 90 cents for every dollar their male counterparts make for their first jobs after college. For young Black and Latina women, the gap is even wider. Over a lifetime, this inequity compounds. The average woman in Pennsylvania will lose nearly $400,000 due to the wage gap. Black women will lose nearly $1 million. These losses translate to fewer opportunities to buy homes, invest in their children's future, and save for a retirement. And by the time women retire, they have 30% less in Social Security benefits than men, and face greater financial insecurity despite living 6 to 8 years longer on average. This is not just an issue of fairness, it's an economic crisis. This is why we must do more than fight for fair pay. We must also prepare the next generation of women to navigate the workplace. At the Women and Girls Foundation, we are empowering young women through leadership programs like GirlGov, ensuring they have the tools to advocate for themselves, understand their rights, and challenge inequitable systems. If we want to break this cycle, we must teach our girls how to navigate and negotiate salaries, recognize discrimination, and demand the pay that they deserve from the very start. The Level Up Greater Pittsburgh Pay Equity campaign is leading the charge, but we need state-level policy changes to ensure that every young woman entering the workforce has a fair shot at financial stability. We need stronger wage transparency laws, protections against pay discrimination, and greater employer accountability. The time for action is now. Pittsburgh has the opportunity to be a leader in this fight, proving that women are paid fairly, are paid fairly. Let's work together across city, county, and state lines to ensure that every woman from her first job to retirement receives the pay that she rightly deserves. Thank you. And I apologize. I'd like to introduce our next speaker, the CEO of the Black Women's Policy Center, Rochelle Jackson.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Again, my name is Rochelle Jackson. I am the founding CEO for the Black Women's Policy Center, where we shape policy, shift narratives, and drive advocacy to create systems that empower Black women to thrive. I am honored to be here with my colleagues in the fight, and I thank them for their partnership and our collective work to close the gender wage gap. I would also like to thank and acknowledge our elected officials who are here today for their commitment to bringing awareness to this plight and for putting pen to paper through policy to address the wage gap and so many other disparities in our region. Today is Equal Pay Day, a day that symbolizes how long a woman in this country must work to earn what a white man earned in the previous year. This day acknowledges the persistent gender wage gap, but today is not a day of celebration. It is meant to bring awareness about the financial inequality that continues to impact women in the workforce. Today, March 25th, commemorates Equal Pay Day for white women. However, as mentioned previously, the wage gap widens for Black women and women of color. It will take a Black woman until July 10th of this year to earn what a white man earned last year. Closing the wage gap for all women is imperative, but today I would like to elaborate just a bit on why closing the wage gap for Black women is our priority. Black women represent 22.3% of women in poverty, yet we make up only 12.8% of all women in the United States. Over 1 in 3 families with children headed by a single Black woman lives in poverty. This poverty is not the result of not having earned income. Rather, it is the result of a perpetual cycle in a system that is riddled with racism and discrimination. This cycle creates barriers for Black women that lead to disenfranchisement and limited economic mobility. Let's be clear, poverty in this country is a policy choice. Between 2020 and 2021, the poverty rate fell dramatically, even in the midst of a pandemic, because policymakers made a choice to address it by expanding the child tax credit, strengthening unemployment protections, and so much more. As we rolled those policies back in 2021 and 2022, poverty rates jumped by the largest record single-year increase in more than 50 years. This is a clear indication that where there is a will, there's always a way. Nationally, Black women earn about 66 cents of every dollar a white man earns. But the reality is much worse for Black women in this region where we are standing today. Black women here in this region only earn about 58 cents on the dollar. This is not just a problem for Black women. This is a problem for all of us in this region, because when Black women thrive, the whole community prospers. As a region, we need to commit to eradicating the systemic discrimination that manifests itself in hiring practices, promotions, salary negotiations, and so much more. Year after year, we commemorate the injustice and inequality in the wage gap between women and men on Equal Pay Days. But let this be the year that we all make the commitment to close the wage gap. Closing the wage gap requires a comprehensive approach, including policy reforms, employer accountability, and cultural shifts. Efforts such as promoting pay transparency, enhancing access to education and training, implementing family-friendly workplace policies, and actively addressing discrimination are essential steps toward closing the wage gap and fostering a more equitable workforce. This not only benefits women, but it strengthens the economy and fosters a more inclusive society. If you would like to join our fight, visit the Level Up Greater Pittsburgh Pay Equity campaign at any of our websites or at levelup-pa.com. Thank you for having me today.
Ms. Rochelle, I'm going to ask you to come back up forward, please, as well as County Executive Sarah Innamorato. For your hard work, ma'am, first, Sarah Innamorato would like to present you a proclamation.
I just want to acknowledge that the work is all three of us as partners, not just us, but thank you so much.
And Mayor Gainey wished to be here today. He also created a proclamation for you as March 25th. He calls upon all residents to join in this important conversation to educate themselves and others about the wage gap and to take action today achieving gender pay equity in our community. All right, I noticed that there is some media here. Is there any questions that you would like to ask? Okay.
So people who aren't familiar with the process of what's happening and maybe in situations that they don't know exactly which direction to go, what would you say to women who are out there who are fighting the fight but actually don't know which way to go?
I'll start and then I'll open it up to our partners. So in terms of where women who are out there fighting the fight, where can they go? So I will start with our three organizations. And so I'll specifically speak to YWCA Greater Pittsburgh, but again, you have the Women and Girls Foundation and the Black Women's Policy Center. But at YWCA Greater Pittsburgh, we are focused on supporting women in these efforts. We have our Center for Race and Gender Equity, where we are already addressing these issues and also are working with employers. We will be working with the AAUW to provide salary negotiation training. And so we encourage all women to look out for that information. We will be spreading it on the website, sharing it with our partners. It'll be available on our social media, so please follow us. And then the other issue is that we've also shared stories, and so there's something about a community coming together, and it's not to harp and complain, it's to come together to say, how can I look at my sister to the right and to the left, and how can we collectively start to make these changes? And then lastly, I will say that we're not just focused on the employee side, but also on the employer. So we have sponsored employer roundtables, and we have a couple of roundtables that will be coming up so that employers can also provide that opportunity within their workplaces. But we also understand that sometimes people can't do that, so the three of us, there we go, the three of us are here to help and to engage and support.
I'll just add that I would want women to know that they're not alone. We started this campaign because we are with them and we understand what they are dealing with, what they're going through. I would also want a woman to know that, to be empowered, to advocate for herself, and to know that she does have protections under the law, which we are, one of the things that we are asking employers to do is to adhere to those laws, right? So we want to educate women about what their rights are under the law as it currently stands. And so, as Angela also mentioned, that we are also creating resources. We're going to have resources for employees as well as employers, because we do recognize that in our region, with 58 cents on the dollar, clearly this is, an issue that we are not addressing very well. So we recognize that we need to be supportive of both employees, but also employers. We consider them partners. This is not adversarial. This is a partnership that we want to create because it benefits all of us in the end. And so we are here so they can reach out to any one of our organizations. And also there are some resources on the LevelUp website. We're going to be enhancing that and providing more resources so they can definitely go there and visit and reach out to any one of us. We're here for them.
Well, thank you all for being here today. And if you know a woman, pay her fairly.
Thank you.
Thank you.